Hey, true believers, Englentine here with a review of Books of Magic. Sandman presents Books of Magic, I should say. You know, this is one of those books that have been hit and miss so far, which has been a real disappointment to me because it's Sandman. It's supposed to be really good. Just by the name alone, you slap it on there and you know that the book's going to be good, right? Right? Yeah, that's the thing. Not quite these days. However, I have found a couple of good ones. But, you know, I'm going to go off on a little tangent here. It's just going to be just an aside, I should say. It disappoints me a little bit knowing that mainstream audiences will look at this and say, no, they won't. They won't look at this. But those that do will look at it and go, oh, they're ripping off Harry Potter. But with it being about a magical boy who's supposed to be the most powerful wizard, whether he's good or bad in this particular case, who wears glasses, is dark-haired, and lives in England. Yeah, kind of a Harry Potter resemblance, but Tim Hunter was created before, so is going to be a little bit of a reversal if the Books of Magic ever becomes a thing where it goes out into the mainstream. Much like Thanos is a ripoff of Darkseid, yet to the mainstream public. Now, if they bring Darkseid into Justice League, he'll just be looking like a copy of Thanos. Kind of sad. Kind of sad as far as that's concerned. So, let's get to the big question of the day. How is Books of Magic? Is it good? Is it bad? I will say this. It does not fall into the tropes and the bad habits that a lot of Vertigo books do. And that tends to be, of course, weirdness for weirdness sake. Words equals good. Some of the Sandman books, and by that I mean, you know, within the family, can be very wordy as they try to be clever. This does not fall into that. As a matter of fact, the dialogue and the descriptions are very sparse, and the art is allowed to say what it needs to say as well as the dialogue. But still, you get all of the story you need. In the end, this was a very entertaining book. I was not lost for 1 second. And even if you do not know who Timothy Hunter is, even if you didn't follow the 90s version, you get brought up to speed. Everything that you need to know. And they explain not only where he's been, but where the possibility of the story can go. And I think that makes this a very strong book indeed. The art is okay, but it does leave a little bit to be desired. I think it's okay. It's kind of ugly, but it's not so ugly that it's a deal breaker. You know, it's not. At least it doesn't fall into that trap. The story, really, I'm telling you, there's a lot of stuff that's going to make people think Harry Potter here, and I'm wondering how much of that was just coincident and how much of that was on purpose. Overall, though, it's what to say. I know I've got a minute or so to talk about it here, but I don't want to reveal anything. It's entertaining. You're going to be able to follow along the story very easy. It's very well paced. I can say that also. It does give exposition, but it's not like it's overly done. It's not an information dump. We're going to get to that afterwards in the next book I review here. But this one is just right. I mean, that's the way it's the Goldilocks's last. You know, it's the all the stuff they gave Baby Bear. This bed is just right. This porridge is just right. This book is just right. The characters are interesting. There's not too much dialogue, but there's just enough to let you know what's happening. There's not. The art is okay, but like I said, that's a problem. That if I were to pick any problem out, that would be it. The book is laid out very well. Colors are good. There's not much wrong to say about this one. If you were to pick up one of the Sandman Presents books, it may actually be Books of Magic. That's how much I like this one. All right, and from a magical kid to magical kids, we got the Lollipop Kids here. So we meet what I thought was a young girl up until the very ending, to tell you the truth, because the dude's drawing like a girl, I guess. But go figure. We start off, we see what looks like a young woman with a huge afro being chased by a werewolf. And it's like, hey, you may be wondering how I got into this situation. That kind of thing. It's like, well, actually, no, I'm not, but tell me anyway. And then it goes on and on and on and on with exposition. And this is the exact opposite of the Books of Magic. I was talking to you about how the Books of Magic was a quick read, and this was a read. The Books of Magic was a very quick read, very easy. You got all the information you needed, and then they moved on, and it was both story and character, the whole 9 yards. This is page after page after page of exposition and what it is, it's in first person. Well, I went to the park today. We lived on the bad side of the park, not the good side of the park. And then at one point we had gotten mugged and people died, and now the place that was my happiness is my sadness. And it goes through basically the entire life, catching you up to here. But the strange thing, very strange thing happens on the way to, it really does. A strange thing happens on the way to nothingness. About in the middle of the exposition, not I guess maybe the middle of the book, the character says, now, I guess you're wondering why this guy is just dumping a whole bunch of, doing a big old info dump on you. So the main character knows that he's in a comic book. At least that's what they try to bring it off as. That's what it came off as to me. It's kind of a Deadpool thing. You may be wondering why the writer of this comic book is giving you a big old info dump. Okay, but you don't do that again. It's not like later, like when the werewolf is attacking, it isn't, oh my gosh, I can't believe the writer got me into this or anything like that. It's just this one weird acknowledgement. And it just kind of throws me, because I was thinking more along the lines of, okay, so what kind of story were we into here because of this? Now, there is one clever thing where it's sort of a national, not national museum, what was that one? National Treasure, where she's saying there's clues around the park to lead you to something magical or something like that. I kind of dug that, and I was just following around. Now, I don't know the truth of it or anything. I've never been to Central Park, but at least that part was interesting, and that led to what's the magical part and where the lollipop kids are. At least that was good enough. That was entertaining. But the lead up to it, wow, what a bore this book is. It really is. I'm sorry. If you introduced, oh my gosh, the way the character is introduced, it's to the point where it's like, no. First of all, you don't make the interesting. This guy is not interesting at all. And then it's weird, by giving so much information, it just seemed, okay, I just kind of closed down. Like, just get on with it now. Get on with it. Get on with it. Get on with it. It's weird because I usually say, yes, we need to know who we're dealing with so we can care about why or what happens to them. And in this case, there's so much. I guess it is a little bit tougher, You got to find that balance. You got to walk the wire a little bit. And unfortunately, this one doesn't do it. So the Books of Magic, good. Lollipop Kids, not so much. But that's just my opinion. What is yours? Have you read the Lollipop Kids? Probably not, but have you? Or if you've read the Books of Magic, tell me what you thought. 2 books about magical kids. One was good in my opinion, one not so much. Let me know in the comments below. Also, if you like this video, you know the drill. Click like, share, get word out about the channel, and don't forget, if you haven't done it already, hit subscribe and ring that notification bell, because sometimes, just sometimes, YouTube does its job and actually notifies people when there's a video or a live stream. I know it's rare, but just sometimes they do that. Also, if you don't mind helping out the channel, go on over to Patreon, drop $1 in the till, and help us keep the lights on, help us keep making videos for you. I'd like to thank everybody who's already done that. To everyone, all of the true believers, thank you very, very much for watching.